NFL or the NBA. They make millions. Do they owe you?
But if you living in my household and I'm managing you,
but you funded his basketball stuff growing up. You bought him his first basketball. You put him in these AAU basketball leagues. You're the reason why he's in the NBA. Does he owe you? Okay.
Your kids don't owe you for nothing, homie. Whatever you pour into your children, there's no return check on that. They don't owe you for that. If they don't grow up and do nothing for you, they don't owe you nothing. They didn't ask to come here. Your children are a result of your choices. So they don't owe you nothing.
So everybody know this is Charleston White. And he's being asked this question. What if you put your child through all of these things and they become successful? You pay for everything they need in order to become successful, and then they become successful. Do you owe them? And he's like, no. And I want to say, technically, you don't owe your parents anything, technically. And that technicality is whether or not you love and you appreciate your parents. Now, what a lot of people won't admit in our community, a lot of Black folks have resentment and hold grudges towards their parents. And later on in life, what ends up happening is they treat their parents horribly as get back. And this is something that is, psychological, but it comes out in how Black people treat their parents in the older age, whether or not, or based on the fact that maybe their parent wasn't the best parent. Maybe their parent was on drugs. Maybe their parent was an alcoholic. Whatever the case may be, they treat their parent, they get back, because there's a time when your parents are robust and they're strong. Then there's a time as you get older that your parents are elderly and they need help. And they need you to go get things for them and go get their medicine and go here and there and help them out. And we live in a nation that is a selfish nation. As Black people, we live up under another group of people who are selfish to their parents. So it's not a surprise that I've seen this conversation, and you see it more and more in the Black community on social media, that Black people feel they don't owe their parents anything. They're not helping their parents. It's not their responsibility to help them with money, to help them, in their day-to-day lives as they get older, which is insane to me and embarrassing, because this conversation is just embarrassing, because no other race is talking about whether or not they're going to take care of their parents when they get older, or whether or not they owe their parents anything. It's only the poorer people, the descendants of the slaves, the people that are statistically the poorest people in America, that are saying, you know what, I don't owe my parents anything. Statistically, the most poorest people who are showing how selfish they are to their own family. And no other community, race, ethnicity is talking about this. This is just a no-brainer. It's the cycle of life. At one point in time, you're a child and you need help. You need to be fed, clothed. You need to be reared. You need to be told what to do, what not to do to protect you, so you don't hurt yourself or hurt someone else, or, or worse, something fatal. You need oversight from some adult or a guardian. And then at another time, as you grow and you get elderly, you will need that help also. It's just a cycle of life, right? And like I said, this conversation is because we as a people are poor in spirit. We are a people who are lacking an identity, a foundation of morals, of values. We're lacking that. So we're getting it from the dominant perspective, or American culture. We're getting it from American culture, which throws their elderly away into convalescent homes. That's what they do, and go live their life. Well, you can't go to other countries and find that people are doing that. The elderly stay within the family. The parents stay within the family. Nobody says, yeah, I'm living good, I'm successful, but I don't owe you anything. I'm not going to help you. That is from a person that has a grudge against their parent. That ain't normal. That ain't natural. Like even the Bible will tell you to honor your mother and father. That's not doing what they ask you to do. That's when they get in their elder age to look after your parents like they looked after you. Now, you heard in there, he said, well, they didn't ask to be here. People don't ask to be here. Yeah, you didn't ask to be here, but do you now regret the benefit of life? Because now your parents need help. And you was like, well, I didn't ask to be here. Who told you to have me? Did nobody tell you, to sleep with my dad and have me? I didn't ask to be here. You see how stupid that sounds? Now, if you ask anybody, okay, you didn't ask to be here. So do you not want to be here? Do you want to just disappear right now? Would you rather not be alive right now? Of course they would say, yeah, I would want to be alive. So that point is weird to me that people make all the time. It doesn't make sense because in reality, we know that people love their lives and they want to be here, even if they're here being selfish and being cruel and being rude to other people. But the thing is that I'm going to end with this is that, when we was growing up, when we were growing up, it was always a thought that like, if you ever make it and of course, when we was coming up, it was like, either you're going to rap, you're going to play basketball, you're going to play football. Maybe you might make it. But if you was to make it to the league, if you was to get this big contract, the first thing you want to do is do something for your family. And you see that all the time. The first thing these young brothers do when they get an NFL contract or whatever is go buy their mother a house, go buy their father a truck. I mean, that's natural. Naturally, you want to show your appreciation and your love. Now, if you have a grudge against your parent because they wasn't there, because they, they abused drugs, they were never at none of your games, they never supported you, you never seen them. If you have a grudge, of course you're going to say, I don't owe my parents anything. That nigga ain't my dad. My mom, she got issues. I'm not giving her nothing. Of course you're going to hold a grudge. And I feel like when you see these videos with all these black people saying a child doesn't owe the parent, that's coming from broken people. That's coming from people who had a horrible upbringing and they hold a grudge against their parents. Because naturally, that's just the circle of life. Why wouldn't you want to help the people that you love? Why wouldn't you want to help your family that you care about? But see, in the black community, we're dealing with a lot. We're dealing with a lot of trauma. We're dealing with a lot of dysfunction. And it shows itself in this topic, which actually is an embarrassing topic to even talk about. But I wanted to talk about it just to illustrate that this is the cycle of life. No other race is doing this. Nobody has these type of conversations, these dead end conversations, these conversations that go nowhere and only actually show how broken we are as a people.